Derek Harper, subject of trade rumors, getting to cheer on his team. You saw Mike Isolino score 23. Pretty impressive. And Vinny Del Negro, hot again for the Spurs. The jumper is good. He had 23. David Robinson doing what comes naturally. Spurs defeat the Mavs at 109-108. For whatever it's worth, probably not much.
Relief. The real showstopper of the week involved two rookie head coaches. Denver hosting San Antonio in our best game. Dan Issel matching wits against Tark the Shark. This game had offense written all over it. David Robinson, Dale Ellis of the Spurs, Chris Jackson, and the rest of those young and restless Denver Nuggets. This one was a real thriller. Let's go to Denver. Dan Issel matching wits against that guy right there. Closing seconds of the first half, Spurs pushed the ball up for the last shot. And look what happens. Luck or skill?
10 points for Liberty. 7 seconds. A force by, William Bedford hits from downtown for 3.
Issel's team led by 2 at the half. Second half action, Spurs out firing Lloyd Daniels, the New York City playground legend, over to David Robinson. He led the Spurs, and the Spurs led by 7. Down the stretch, Issel calls timeout. Sets a play for Chris Jackson. The LSU sharpshooter says, boom, take that in your mug.
My confidence is up, and I don't plan on it going down.
Closing minutes of regulation, Nuggets down by 2. Bryant Stith from Virginia working the boards, and he gets fouled by David Robinson. He gets 2 at the charity stripe and hits both. It's tied at 100.
We have a lot of heart, and I think that that's something that, you can't substitute for.
First overtime, the Spurs go into Daniels, who just uses Chris Jackson. End of the first overtime, tied at 111.
That would have been a long plane ride to Portland if we'd lost that game.
Second overtime, the Nuggets go to Chris Jackson, and he does it again to Sweep Heat. Jackson finished with 32. Nuggets win it 125-121.
Chris played great. I mean, everybody played great. Everybody.
Well, back's against the wall right now. We're in a must-win situation. We got to take advantage of this home court. We got 5 games that are winnable games, but Milwaukee is playing very good basketball, so we're going to have our hands full.
Look at the final box score. David with 30 points and 11 pulls. Lloyd Daniels is going to feast on smaller guards all year. Book it. He had 26. For the Winners, Chris Jackson is the starting point guard with shooting mentality. He had 32. And the trio of Marcus Liberty, Bryant Stith, and Reggie Williams notching 20 apiece.
Let us see, shall we? David Robinson, so happy Lloyd Daniels is a Spur. Daniels, look at this. He has an audience, can do what he wants, goes right in for the lay-in. Lloyd Daniels doing it from long distance, draining the 3. 21 for Lloyd. Spurs were down by just 1 at the half. In the fourth, all David Robinson, the Admiral taking over. Then it's Robinson with a jump hook, 29 for Mr. Robinson. Then it was David, of course, on the D. Blue Edwards inside, rejected by Robinson. 9 blocks in the second half, 10 in the game for Robinson. Spurs by 4 late in the game. Robinson gets the board, the hoop, and the foul. Yes, it was that kind of game. And hey, the Tark with his first regular season win. Former Buck Dale Ellis with 23 points in this game.
Retired at age 62. He's trying to win NBA games against the Hawks. The Spurs behind because Wilkins had 13 in the first quarter. Spurs actually got back to take the lead, but Kevin Willis takes care of that with a tomahawk stuff. Third quarter, Lloyd Daniels, the half-court alley-oop, and there's David Robinson. Cuts the lead. Atlanta up by 3, but Dominique sealing the deal. Spurs a chance to pull within 1. He gets the swipe from Daniels and gets it to Mookie Blaylock, and Shark and the Spurs grounded as San Antonio loses it. Travis Mays with 19. Blaylock and Kevin Willis had 16. San Antonio suffering 14 turnovers in the first half.
In the Spurs and home openers. Tuesday, the Admiral ship came in as David Robinson scored 29 points, blocked 10 shots, and grabbed 9 rebounds in the Spurs' 7th straight home opening win.
In San Antonio, first half, the hot hand, Mark Price. That's 3. Rip scored. Then faking out Vinny Del Negro for 2. Cavs led by 10 at one point. Ex-Nick Gerald Wilkins stripping Antoine Carr. Goes all the way, going to dunk it. A little short for Craig Elo there for the putback. And Tark says, what's going on? But the second half, the Spurs come out hot. Sean Elliott, baseline dish to David, and the Admiral says, get out of my way. 19 points and 13 boards for David. This one of the boards, and the outlet to Dale Ellis. You can't leave him alone. Gets a little space and spots up and takes it. 2 of his 20, and the Spurs go from down 10 to win by 11. Lloyd Daniels, 19 off the San Antonio bench. Dallas against David Robinson and the Spurs. David didn't start well. One field goal in the first half, but Dale Ellis was hot. Spots up and knocks down 3. Move to the right side, double down on David, give it to Dale. They'll create some space during the year. Then Ellis cuts down the lane off the nice feed from Sidney Green. Ellis 12 in the first quarter. Spurs put on the pressure all evening. William Bedford misses, but a great play by Sean Elliott to sneak in for 2 of his 26. Spurs by 13 at the half, and in the fourth, the Admiral gets going off the feed from Antoine Carr. Pretty feed, then Vinny Del Negro. The outlet to Lloyd Daniels. Sweet pea, sweet bounce pass. And Tart has an easy one for once. This is like the Vegas days. San Antonio wins by 28, the only unbeaten team in the league. Portland hosting Tart and the Spurs. Vinny Del Negro, the alley-oop to David. The Admiral at 22. The Spurs by 1 at the break, but it's Clyde time in Rip City. Drexler steps out, unguarded, takes the 3 and hits it. Closing in on a milestone, 15,000 points, and he becomes the 14th active player to reach that milestone with that hoop. Not just the starters, but the bench as well. Mario Ellie over Antoine Carr's arm and down on his head. Big dunk, and Tart doesn't want to see it, but look up, Tart. Things would come back. No, not because of Cliff Robinson. He was having a great game for the Blazers. Spins and hits the 2. How about another jumper? Mr. Robinson was in the building, but it's another Mr. Robinson's neighborhood in Portland. Antoine Carr, big game. Watch this nice up and under move. Up and under. For 2 of his 24, the Spurs within a couple, but give and go. Drexler to Robinson. It's a 2-point Blazer lead. Time running down, good defense. David Robinson gets the rebound, the outlet to Lloyd Daniels. This will tie the game with the layup. One problem. It didn't go in. A night Lloyd would soon forget, consoled by David Robinson, as the Spurs lose by 4. The first time this year the Blazers held under 100. Still, they are unbeaten. 8-0. Clyde had 24. Cliff Robinson, career best. 23 points and 9 boards. Uncle Cliffy.
The Spurs and the Jazz going at it at the Delta Center, and Lloyd Daniels with a 3-ball that goes. Then Dale Ellis hitting the 3-pointer. Ellis again, he scored 19, and San Antonio lighting it up. Robinson to Daniels for another 3. Lloyd Daniels scoring 18 in the game. Even Sean Elliott getting in on it. The Spurs hit 6 3-pointers in the first half, and then they play a little D with Antoine Carr rejecting Karl Malone. Tarkanian excited about the win as the Spurs take it 128-102, winning in Utah for the first time in 18 games.
Slow motion early against the Bullets, and it would be a historic night for that man, Michael Adams. Adams unleashing the 3. That's 3-pointer number 795. That breaks the record. Bullets in control in this game. Doug Overton finds Grant for the dunk. Washington up by 10. Adams, nice pass to Gugliotta. Googs with 22. Washington led by 22 at one point. Third quarter, Spurs rally thanks to the Admiral. Spurs down by just 5, but the Bullet backcourt couldn't be beat. Adams blows by everyone. He had 23. Washington up by 14. And then how about Doug Overton? The pretty pass to Gugliotta again. What a connection. And how about Overton? 18 assists to go along with his 18 points as the Bullets cruise.
One of only 2 current non-foreign NBA players who have never played college ball, Sean Kemp the other. This fan a bit skeptical as the Sixers have been awful at home, but Kenny Payne sharp early, hitting 6 out of 6. Spurs still leading by 1 at the break. Antoine Carr lit it up, 14 points in the third quarter, 25 in the game. And then Lloyd Daniels assisting the Admiral, heaving it down court. David Robinson stuffs it. They hooked up 3 different times on these long-range connections. Spurs play good defense here with Sean Elliott, the steal and the finish. 76ers shot a dismal 39% from the floor, and the Admiral with 27 points and 21 rebounds. He's been more aggressive this year, already fouling out twice. That's as many as all of last season. Lloyd Daniels, by the way, scoring 13 points, and the Sixers have lost 5 straight.
Spurs man of iron, Antoine Carr, and lost. Strained knee ligaments finished him for at least the weekend. Spurs, meanwhile, built an 18-point third-quarter lead and watched it evaporate. 25 seconds to play. Lead down to 3. Nets full court pressure pays off. Kenny Anderson steals the long outlet. Zips the most important of his 17 assists to Drazen Petrovic, who drains the 3, ties the game, sends Tark into a biting frenzy in the game into OT, where somebody leaves big guy Sam Bowie open, and then Chris Morris streaming down for the thunderous follow. Oh, anguish for Jerry Tarkanian. Petrovic scored 34, Anderson 31 to go with those 17 assists.
Will Karl Malone starting it with defense and taking it the other way on the other end. The hoop. No, but he's fouled by Antoine Carr. Then Malone double team, so he gets it to Mike Brown in the lane, and that's a short two. Tarkanian, he maybe should see his dentist with that problem. David Robinson spinning off the defender down low and sticks. He had 25 points, 18 rebounds. Second half, Vinny Del Negro to Sean Elliott. Baseline, some nice moves. Elliott 32, then Del Negro giving it to Dale Ellis, the three-pointer. 10 assists for Del Negro and a team record 10 three-pointers for the Spurs. Bad news, though, as Antoine Carr dislocated his shoulder. He'll be out for 2 weeks. They're already without Willie Anderson and Terry Cummings.
David Robinson going to work on Ronnie Cycling. Spurs led by 3 at the half, 5 at this point in the third. Remember 86? Navy played Syracuse in the tournament. Robinson got the best of Cycling. Ronnie gets one back there. J.R. Reed in a Spurs uniform didn't have a great game, limited to just 4 points. And the struggle. Look at Tark. What's going on? Where's the Admiral taking you outside for a jumper? Then on the inside, a turnaround. He also had 7 assists. 15-3 Spurs run in the fourth, closes it out. Lloyd Daniels, alley-oop. Sean Elliott, 2 of his 13. Spurs win by 10.
The Spurs have been turning it up lately. The Mavs have won just once all season, but they're battling the boards. They're going to try and hang in there. Sean Rooks sticks with it, got the basket and the foul, then they hit from outside. Derek Harper with just about a half a minute left in the half. The Mavs within 2, but then an acrobatic move by Dale Ellis, who had 17 points in the third quarter. Robinson with the block, the outlet to Avery Johnson, back to Ellis. He knocks it down, and what was a 2-point game at the break, did Jerry Tarkanian swallow his towel? There was no need to sweat this one.
The Lakers playing in San Antonio, and Randy Funn trying to design a way to stop David Robinson. Here on Vlade Divac, he takes the alley-oop and shoves it down. So Dale Threet sparking the Lakers and really playing well for them. The bounce pass to James Worthy. The Lakers up 10 at halftime, and he hates when that happens. Time running down to the third quarter. Vlade Divac just throws one up there to beat the clock, and he does. What a country. Lakers get all the breaks. And the tough score, Tony Smith stripped by Avery Johnson, but A.C. Green is there to take it back, and he's fouled. The Lakers win it 107-101, so they've won 5 straight. Randy Funn's motion offense working. Threet had 24, Smith 17 off the bench, Robinson 25 for the Spurs, who miss a chance to go over 500 for the first time this season. Rockets, defense. The accent was on defense. After the turnover, Kenny Smith has it taken away, and Otis Thorpe with a slam dunk, and then Akeem and Robinson go at it. A lot of grabbing and groping and pushing and shoving. Looked like Senator Robert Packwood there. We kid. Third quarter, Robinson comes back, gets his own rebound. Spurs actually led by 2, but Robinson was in foul trouble most of the game. Otis Thorpe leading the Rockets, going from one end to the other with a one-handed stick, and that'll give him a headache. Where's the towel, Tark? Rockets take command with Akeem. Watch the quick spin move plus the foul. Olajuwon had 31 points and 12 rebounds as the Rockets take the Spurs 121-109.
But look at this clinic Dallas puts on. Doug Smith passes up to Terry Davis, who jams. Wow, they are shocking people in San Antonio. Third quarter, those Spurs go on a 17-1 tear. Ellis misses. Larry Smith, great pass back to him for the lay-in. Spurs by 11. To the fourth quarter, San Antonio roars away. Vinny Del Negro threads the needle to Sean Elliott. He poured in 41 points, and the Spurs made a winner out of Rex Hughes. He didn't want to be the head coach, I guess, because, well, he was for 3 hours until John Lucas took over moments ago.
In the first half, Marcus Liberty missing the easy bucket, but Gary Plummer is there for the jam. Lucas didn't like what he saw. That's no good. Lucas likes to run. Avery Johnson to Robinson. Avery Johnson could be John Lucas's point guard. 8 points, 8 assists for Johnson. Then the defense, the Spurs forcing the turnover. Vinny Del Negro, nice move. Now check out the enthusiasm here by John Lucas giving Del Negro the low 5. Spurs by 13 at the half. Dikembe Mutombo leads at Denver, charged 1 of his 12 rebounds and 2 of his 15 points. Lucas a bit concerned with the Nuggets. Spurs, though, rally for their coach. David leading the break. J.R. Reed finishing it. Spurs by 7. Nuggets keeping it close. Macon hitting Ellis. But down the stretch, that other Ellis, Dale Ellis, from the perimeter. 23 points for Dale. He gave John Lucas the ball, and the Spurs win it in John Lucas's coaching debut in the NBA. David Robinson helping to make that happen. 21 points, 18 boards, and 8 blocks.
Pippen creates another turnover, dishing to Michael for the jam. Pippen, 16 assists, 5 rebounds, 5 steals. The Bulls win 89-77 in a game in which the Knicks scored just 28 points in the second half. This lousy game instead. The man who filled all the stockings for the Spurs, Sean Elliott. Not a rock in the first quarter. 6 for 6 as the pet shop owner from San Antonio goes from way downtown. Bang. The largest first quarter this year for the Spurs, who led the Clippers 39-17 after one quarter, as Elliott hit from everywhere but the popcorn stand, to the delight of John Lucas, who was coaching his second Spurs game after being hired just a week ago to replace Jerry Tarkanian. Clippers tried to rally. Norman to Gary Grant, reverse lay, 19-4 Clipper run. Then John Hot Tamales Williams from way downtown. Bang. The Spurs lead was just 8 at the half, but then after the worst third quarters since 1902, the Spurs ran away. Elliott, 32 on your jersey, 32 on your scoreboard. And David Robinson, not a huge afternoon, just 21, but he puts an exclamation point on it as the Clips and Spurs must have had their Christmas turkey in.
Put on a good show for Mom and Dad in the audience. The game was wide open, just the way Chris Mullin likes it. A three-pointer for him, Warriors by 11 after 3. Don Nelson telling his team 1 quarter to go. The Spurs would come back, though. Avery Johnson fine. Who else? The Admiral. 32 for David Robinson. Antoine Carr firing up the crowd. The Warriors were down by 1, 33 seconds left. Mullin gets the hoop, and he's fouled. Warriors up by 2. Dale Ellis comes back and fires from his favorite spot, the three-point range. 1 of 4 for Ellis. Spurs by 1. Lucas thinks he's a player again. Look at that enthusiasm. A guy who's great at finding a way to win. Chris Mullin, with 8 seconds left, puts in the go-ahead bucket. The Spurs still have a shot, but they couldn't get a shot off. So Golden State hangs on, and Lucas loses to the team he once played for, his first loss in 4 games. The Warriors sure did the job on Sean Elliott, the NBA Player of the Week. He fouled out and just finished with 12 points. Up by 1. Check out the nice move by Chris Jackson. He was hot in the first half. He had 18 points. Then Todd Lichty hit a great game. His Stanford grad comes up with a steal and takes it in all the way. Lichty was 16. Nuggets within 1 at the half. Fourth quarter, Spurs pull it away. Vinny Del Negro finds who else? The Admiral. Then Avery Johnson and the dish to Robinson for the slam. Robinson had 29. Sean Elliott added to Denver's demise. By the way, it was Denver's 12th straight loss.
Do not mess with Charles. Barkley, unbelievable tonight. All angles, 31, including this kiss right in JR's face. In the fourth, when it counted, David says, Charles, the game is on the line. Under 2 minutes to go, Dale Ellis, 3, good. Spurs within 1, 102-101. And then Marley shoots. Barkley outreaches David. Suns by 3, 42 seconds to go. Suns seem to be in control. Avery Johnson drives the lane. Barkley the block. Start the transition. And Thunder Dan at the other end. It's 106-101. Spurs didn't give up. On the inbounds play, the great hustle. Robinson will get the ball to Ellis. Tips it to Sean Elliott. Sean had 23, and we were tied at 107. 4 seconds to go. Spurs can get the last shot. But look, they have 6 players on the floor. Well, Charles says, that's a technical. 6, Charles says. In overtime, Dale Ellis, the clutch 3. Spurs up by 4. Suns down by a point when Tom Chambers has a chance to give his team the lead and perhaps the victory, and he won't do it. Give credit to the Spurs. John Lucas, they were dominated for 3 quarters tonight, and they held on to win it.
Jerry Sloan's team sharing the ball in the first half. Corbin had 10. Jeff Malone, the hoop and some harm, he had 22. Karl Malone chipping in with a 17-footer. That's 18 for him. Stockton a 3-ball. He scored 14. Even the third guard, Jay Humphries, for 3. He had 13. And Larry Krystkowiak with 2 of his 17. And Lloyd Daniels doesn't like what he sees as the Jazz shoot lights out to beat San Antonio. They've won 6 straight. This the Jazz and Spurs in San Antonio. And Dale Ellis loose on the outlet. And then Karl Malone driving. David Robinson knocks that away. Gets it to Avery Johnson. Nice little fake in the lane to give the Spurs a 9-point lead over Utah at halftime. Then Antoine Carr Blocking John Stockton. The outlet goes to Dale Ellis, and the Spurs off and running. Then Sean Elliott finds Ellis alone for the three. And then Robinson to Ellis for another. He had 4 3-pointers, a season-high 33 points in the game. The Spurs have won 3 of 4 meetings.
The Blazers, Rod Strickland back in San Antonio, and Spurs fans showing just how much they miss him. Kenyatta with his number on it, wow. First half, David Robinson doing the power dunk over Buck Williams. Robinson with 32. Time running out in the first half. Dale Ellis will nail the 3. So what else is new? He had 17. Spurs by 5 at the half. Rick Gatling can't believe it. Then it's Strickland missing, but Cliff Robinson is there. Game tied at 58. Willie Anderson, Cummings can only watch the Admiral take over this game. Robinson, the Thunder dunk. Then it's Avery Johnson on the break. Avery, 12 points, 9 assists. John Lucas now 7-2 as Spurs coach. Another victory. The Blazers, Cliff Robinson, though, just 6 of 16 from the field.
To the Palace of Auburn Hills, Kirk Gibson, former Tiger, looking for a team. Late second quarter, there's Rodman. Defensively on David Robinson. He has to try to stop the center on the other team sometimes. Didn't stop David there. Spurs up by 12. And this Lloyd Daniels 3 was a huge one because the Pistons were coming back, but it gave the Spurs the boost to go up 12 after 3. Rodman on the boards, the worm on the window, doing it again. Gets it from Robinson, but misses the hook. And also gets the boards on the defensive end. 26 rebound night for Rodman. But there weren't too many misses from the Spurs. Dale Ellis leads everyone with 23, and Luke might as well jump. The Spurs are playing great. Now 8-2 under John Lucas since he took over for Tark. San Antonio wins by 18 at the Palace. Youngest coach in the NBA at age 32. He kept telling his assistants during the game, leave me alone, I'm trying to think. Thinking about how Thurl Bailey's going to have 15 off the bench. Thinking about how to stop Dale Ellis, who had 18. This was a seesaw game throughout. Let's go to the second half. Spurs up 5, and Felton Spencer, inspired over the Admiral, cut the lead to 3. Chuck Person around the Admiral to keep it close as well. Moments remaining, though. Avery Johnson. Remember Tark said he didn't have a point guard? Well, Avery Johnson's been starting, and the Spurs have won 4 straight with him at the point. Sidney Lowe said he sweated through a shirt. It didn't help. They still lost by 8, but played a little better. Spurs are 4-0, as I mentioned, since Avery Johnson took over at the point. Keep an eye on that. Revitalized San Antonio in Milwaukee. Offense from strange places. Frank Burkowski led the team with 18. No Alvin Robertson, no Eric Murdoch. So who's shooting outside? Brad Lohaus for 3, and he was fouled. A 4-point play. The Spurs would run. Dale Ellis, traded from Milwaukee, feeling very at home at the Bradley Center. Good feed to Avery Johnson there. Then Lloyd Daniels returns the favor to Ellis, who had a game-high 26, 14 in the 4th. And when you need a big hoop down the stretch, you go to the Admiral, and David Robinson makes it look easy. He's looking for the foul, but look up at the board, got to win by 15. Avery Johnson, 18 points, 16 assists.
First half, he blocks Larry Johnson and turns around and blocks David Wingate. Get that stuff out of here. Robinson had 7 blocks, and wow. And meanwhile, David Robinson, when he's hitting the 3-pointers, look out below. Get out of town. You're in for a long night. Second half, Avery Johnson, and look at the alley-oop, ending by the Admiral. A little bit of French pastry. Robinson then, the turnaround, gets the shooter's roll. How many, Tom? How many? 52 points and counting. That's it. The Spurs win at 124-111. Career high 52. Oh, yes. Robinson had 14 bounds and 7 block shots. The Spurs have won 6 in a row.
There have been a lot of beautiful days now these days. Avery Johnson, entry pass. Sean Elliott, reverse layup. Good. Next possession, Robinson swats. Terry Mills, get it out of my neighborhood. Get it ahead to Avery Johnson. Avery Johnson with the layup. Avery Johnson didn't like all that point guard maligning that was going on before Lucas got there. Vinny Del Negro, tough drive. Tougher layup, Spurs by 3. Del Negro, the same type of situation. Isaiah Thomas, watch him come up with a pinch. He is a one-eyed jack after the other day. We'll see that. Isaiah Thomas pinches it, then goes behind his back and gets the layup to go. Pretty finger roll right there. The Spurs, though, still leading by 1. Joe Dumars, Joe D, misfires on the tough baseline shot. Avery Johnson to the trailing Dale Ellis. And that's a sweet move right there. The Spurs leading 58-54. Ronnie Rothstein has his work cut out for him, and he better hurry up quick.
A team that's lost only once in the new year, and John Lucas, one of the main reasons, got them playing great ball, but there's no defense for this. The alley-oops, but somehow it still goes. Scott Pippen made only one of his first 11 shots, but the first one was rather extraordinary. Michael Jordan wasn't missing much. knifing the lane and slamming, but the Spurs had command. They had a 15-point lead in the first half. Bulls break in the second half, and a big third quarter, and Pippen rocking and rolling again, and the Spurs lead is suddenly down to 1. B.J. Armstrong simply hammered by Avery Johnson, but the free throws gave the Bulls the lead. San Antonio about to see it slip away when they go to Dale Ellis for the big one. A three-pointer, they're back up 98-96. Time running down, John Lucas stressing the D, Phil Jackson going to his go-to guy with time running down. The Admiral in his face, Jordan falls away, but it won't go. The Spurs get the rebound and hold on and knock off the Bulls, and things just keep on rolling for Lucas and company. 103-99 over the defending champions.
Giving them confidence, and he was doing that in this game. The Sonics, a poor shooting night. Ricky Pierce misses, Robinson the rebound, and leaves it long for Dale Ellis, the former Sonic, off the cushion. Spurs shot 57% in the first half. J.R. Reed freezes Kemp. Looks like he walks here and got away with it. Spurs up 63-50 at halftime, but it got worse. Lloyd Daniels lofting it for David Robinson, who did not have a good shooting first half, but that's a good percentage shot. The Sonics build a 25-point lead, and J.R. Reed off the bench. Bounce pass from Vinny Del Negro, the lay-in, a season high, 24 points, and then Reed leading the break. The no-look to Robinson, who had 17 points, and the Spurs are smiling with Lucas as their leader. Robinson blocked 7 shots, had 15 boards, huddling with his team. Sean Elliott misses. Antoine Carr grabs it, puts it back. He had 14. A number of role players coming through for San Antonio. Tough defense. Detlef stripped by Vinny Del Negro, who gets it out to J.R. Reed, another one of those guys who has flourished under Lucas. And there's Reed on the other end. Spurs by 16 at halftime. The players even huddle without Lucas. They're that confident. David Robinson steals to Dale Ellis, to Sean Elliott at the other end. San Antonio having a little fun in the second half. 22 points for Sean Elliott again. Elliott with a swipe and score, and the Spurs blow out Indiana 133-115. Avery Johnson at the controls.
San Antonio, where the huddled masses were separate. San Antonio shot 69% in the first half. Antoine Carr to Lloyd Daniels, who does the rest. Part of a 20-zip run for the Spurs. T-Wolves try to stay close dramatically. Laettner to Chuck Person, who lets it fly at the halftime buzzer. It's good. T-Wolves down by 10, though, at the half. David Robinson just ended any hopes for Minnesota. The Admiral with 20 points. Sean Elliott chipped in with 23. And the Spurs did beat the T-Wolves for the 12th straight time. Lucas looking to go 20-3 as head coach. All Spurs, Sean Elliott all over Kiki Vandeweghe. Elliott with 18 points. Lloyd Daniels getting the job done inside. Some nice moves for Sweet Pea. Daniels got the job done for Tark. Now he's doing it for John Lucas. Then David Robinson just doing his thing. 2 of his 25 points. He also had 13 rebounds, 7 blocks. This one was all Spurs. Dale Ellis chipping in with 20 points. The Spurs.
Washington. David Robinson hit the deck very hard. Double thumped the back and the head, but he was okay. Didn't score in the first quarter, but he had more problems. Like Purvis Ellison on a night of centers. Purvis said, don't forget me. He had 25, the Bullets by 11, but another huge night for Avery Johnson. The quick hands, the steal for Michael Adams. Takes it in, and the Spurs led by 7 at the break. Then the Admiral would heat up in the second half. Inside position, good catch, good dunk. He had 18. David again. Watch the give and go with Avery Johnson. The pass. The return. Very nice. Johnson and Robinson think they're hooking up well. How about one more time? How about since Avery Johnson has been put in the lineup, the Spurs are 16-1.
Already successful in Dallas and Houston. That's David Robinson over Parrish. The outside jumper, but the Chief comes back. Nice feed from the X-Man. Celtics by 2. Then the second half, Parrish. 2 of his 16 boards, 1 of his 16 boards, and 2 of his 18 points. And look at this, though. The Spurs would fight back. That's a nice move by Dale Ellis. You want a better move? Look at this acrobatic shot by Sean Elliott. Clobbered, but gets the layup to go. 90-85. The Spurs pull it out.
Honored before the game. Manning with an all-star pass to Ron Harper, who had a terrific game, slashing through the lane for 2. Then, watch this, facial on David Robinson. Time was running down in the first half. The Spurs had a big half and a big lead, and it was 13 when Avery Johnson finds the bank open on a holiday in L.A. Second half, Harper was just warming up. He takes it strong to the hole with the video and audio facial for Dale Ellis. The Spurs' double-digit lead was down to 3. Then Harper continues. With the lead down to 1, hits the jumper, and the Clippers take a 1-point lead, but Ellis comes back. The only offense in the fourth quarter for the Spurs puts them up 1, and Magic watching the game in crunch time. It's Harper. Driving. Will he hit another hoop? No, this time denied, but the putback by Manning clips up one. But the Clippers turn it over, and David Robinson dunks, and the Spurs take a 1-point lead. A last chance, they go to Harper. He can't get it to the hoop, and the rebound's no good, and Robinson, Johnson, and Lucas watch Harper in agony and celebrate yet another victory as the Spurs win by 3. They've won 8 straight, 18 of their last 19 playing, but the Spurs got production from Dale Ellis. The 3 and a foul. It's a 4-point play. But the Warriors would return fire. Latrell Sprewell, outstanding game. Takes Ellis to the goal for 2. Warriors up 6 at the break, and Lucas wanted better play, and he would get it from Avery Johnson. The alley-oop to the Admiral. David had 27. Then watch this. This is the highlight of the night. Hardaway on the alley-oop is taken away by Johnson. Start the break the other way, and how about a 45-foot alley-oop to the Admiral? What a terrific play, and Luke was fired up. His team was up 3, but back would come Sprewell. He says, what rookie wall? Banging right through it. Another 3, and he rips cord one more time. 15 in the third, 26 for the game. Warriors up 15, showtime. Hardaway missing the 3, but Chris Gatling with the flush. An easy win for the Warriors against the shorthanded Spurs. They win by 21 in all, just the second loss.
Is visiting Texas, and Hersey Hawkins trying to help his team out. He had 15 in the first half, 33 in the game. Here comes Avery Johnson, the left-hander in traffic for San Antonio. Closing seconds of the first half, Tim Perry goes all the way. 14 points and 11 boards. The Sixers led the Spurs by 1 at halftime, but then Dale Ellis throws up the 3-ball. And then the 3-ball side pocket. 14 points in the fourth quarter. Another 3-ball. He ran the table. 4 3-pointers in the final quarter. 24 points in the game. And under Lucas, the Spurs are 24-4 and 15 straight at home.
There's Charles. There's David Robinson joking there, but the laughs didn't last long. It was a back-and-forth game. David Robinson blowing by Tom Chambers for the jam. Robinson with 35, Spurs by 3 in the third. Charles lets fly from 17 feet. He had 29. He's pumped up, but the Spurs weren't through. How about the Avery Johnson alley-oop to Robinson? Pretty, but back comes Barkley. The drive by Robinson, who says he's tough to play against, but Barkley wins out. He had 12 boards also. Suns down by 2. Barkley finds Dan Marley from his favorite spot. Suns led by 1. Then Barkley says it's time to have a few laughs with my partner, Danny Ainge, but it would get tense down the stretch. Suns leading by 2. Ainge misses the free throw, but hustles after his own rebound. Then he just runs out the clock, and the Suns hang on to win it by 2, sending the Spurs to their first loss in 16 home games. Tom Chambers with 20 off the bench.
Alonzo Mourning against David Robinson, blows by him with some quickness, and then on the other end, Alonzo rejecting David Robinson. Muggsy Bogues, who had a poor shooting night, only 3 of 12, misses 1, but watch Larry Johnson fly into your picture. One of his 15 rebounds to follow, and the Hornets led by 11 at halftime. Second half, David Robinson leaves with a jammed thumb and did not return, although outplayed by Mourning most of this game. Charlotte on a roll. Larry Johnson to steal. And watch this, a slam and some ham. A little hot dogging. Charlotte by as many as 17. Spurs rally. Former Hornet J.R. Reed, the nice move, plus the foul. San Antonio within 1, but time running out. Del Curry, this is a clutch jumper. And the Hornets do pull away to knock off San Antonio 111-104.
Sudden impact against David. They go shoulder to shoulder, and then Shaq takes it inside. Not only gets the hoop, but gets the foul. And then the spin move, and he sends it home. Well, David would respond at the other end, not with power, but quickness, just blows right by the rookie. And then Shaq would get into early foul trouble. The offensive foul pushing away David. He left with 3 fouls. Shaq was sitting, David was hitting. The pull-up, the 15-footer. The Spurs led by as many as 19, while Shaq sat. Then he returned with a vengeance. Anthony Bowie to Shaq, and look out below. Donald Royal, Shaq again. And then the gritty-gutty Scotty Skiles inside. The fake on David. He gets the hoop. John Lucas, his team leading by only 3. And then David using the outside jumper. Soft as church music. 23 points, 16 rebounds, 3 blocks. And the Spurs pick up the victory.
17 points at the half. Second half, David Robinson baseline on Rick Smits, who fouled out. Spurs cut the lead to 8. But Detlef Schrempf, the all-star, double-teamed, feeds Greg Dreiling for the slam, and then Detlef with the runner in the lane, and he draws the foul. He had 26 points, 7 rebounds, and 9 assists. This time he takes it himself to finish off the San Antonio Spurs. The Pacers playing well. They've won 3 straight. George McLeod had 18 off the bench. David Robinson, the only Spurs player. The Spurs and the Celtics playing in Boston, and Reggie Lewis sitting it out with a sore back. Off the opening tip, Sherman Douglas. Quickly feeding D. Brown for the lay-in and the foul. 7 Celtics in double figures. Brown off the miss, gets 2 of his 14. And then Brown the high handoff to Xavier McDaniel, who had 14. Sherman Douglas, the nifty move inside. He scored 23. And then Douglas, the pass to Rick Fox, who also had 14. Robert Parrish got into it with 19 points. Meanwhile, the Spurs down by 16 at halftime. John Bagley, even Joe Klein getting some points as he had 8. And Sherman Douglas and the Celtic guards survive without Reggie Lewis. Christian Laettner has had a bad week and has been in and out of some trouble. But here, Michael Williams gets him going with a little alley-oop. And then with the shot clock running down, Chuck Person scrambling for the ball, just going to throw it up there and banks it in for the three-pointer. And that was using his head. Minnesota taking an 11-point halftime lead. San Antonio with a big game from J.R. Reed. He had 29, the turnaround jumper, a 103 tie. And time running down in regulation. Avery Johnson with a big drive takes it himself to give the Spurs a 2-point lead. 4.3 seconds left in the game. Minnesota a chance to tie. The pass to Laettner. He's done it so many times in college. He throws it in and gets the foul. It's called on Dale Ellis. Laettner with the free throw gives Minnesota a 1-point lead. And just a few ticks left. The inbounds pass. Laettner swipes it away from David Robinson. And the T-Wolves shock the Spurs by 1. Dale Ellis said the foul call giving Laettner the winning points was a bad call, and the ref was out of position. And the Spurs and franchise player Jim Jackson, the air ball. The following contains graphic and unsettling material. Viewer discretion advised. This rated PG-13 for Dallas fans. Terry Davis, the air ball. Then Tim Legler with the awful turnover. Dexter Cambridge, the alley-oop that's alley out of bounds. Garfield Herd's Mavs, 29% in the first half shooting. Derek Harper hits the backboard, and Davis Robinson getting a giggle out of this as Robinson gets a giggle out of blocking Dexter Cambridge. Robinson on Cambridge again, and Jimmy Jackson wondering if all that money is worth this torture. Good news in the game for San Antonio. Sean Elliott back, 16 points. He got fouled on that play. The Spurs really a different team with him on the lineup, and a different team when they are at home. As they win easily, the Mavericks' road losing skid goes to 27 straight. Portland at San Antonio, and in the first quarter, Terry Porter was mighty hot. From outside, standing on the stripe, nails it. It was tied after 1. David Robinson, somebody get in his way, would you? Spurs by 6 at the half in the third quarter. It is all Spurs off the steal. Avery Johnson to Antoine Carr. It is an explosion. Oh, the humanity. The Spurs lead by 17 in the third. Fourth quarter, Sean Elliott drives to Dale Ellis, lays it up and in. John Lucas's guys roll away with it, winning it by 9. Cliff Robinson, 28 points in the losing cause.
Look, he's still got all the right moves, doing it up on Sean Elliott. 24 for Worthy. John Lucas better calm down. The season's still a long one. LA by 11 in the half. Reason why? Turnovers by the Spurs, 1 of 23. Robinson coughed it up that time. AC Green doing the damage. He had 11, but Robinson still kept the Spurs in it, coming back from a 4-point first half. David did. Robinson, some nice moves there, the slam, and then doing it again, the follow. Robinson had 26. Spurs did come within 5 of Randy Fund's team. It got worse for LA. Benoit Benjamin, the flagrant foul. Benoit actually shot. He got called for that. Come on. But the Lakers held on. Byron Scott, a great game for him. Scott reached the 12,000-point plateau in this game. Lakers win it by 5.
On the break, Vinny Del Negro showing his open court skills, going behind the back for the dunk. One of his 2 field goals. Watch the Admiral take Vlade to the goal. David, 12 of 17 from the field. End of the half, Vlade puts up a 3 and rips court. Spurs by 1 at the break, but Luke unhappy in the fourth quarter. Willie Anderson, the lob to David. He had 29, Spurs by 5. But the Lakers come back. Sedell starts the break. One of his 10 assists to Byron Scott, who had 18. The Lakers close to within 1. Final seconds, Vlade puts up a jumper that is no good. Byron the try, no good again. And John Lucas celebrates a good start on the road as Robinson has 6 assists to go to his 29, and the Spurs win by 1.
David, Patrick, and David misses the short J. Charles Oakley gets the rebound, and Patrick Ewing, the elusive Patrick Ewing, the finger roll. And then Oakley finds Ewing again. He can score there, says, nah, bring it down and bring it right back up. Avery Johnson, the miss. Doc will get the rebound, and guess who's out on the break? Patrick Ewing. 22 first-half points. John Lucas says, play defense on somebody. How about John Starks? The 3. Good. And then Starks says, I can hit it outside. I'll go inside. Gets the finger roll, the bounce. He had 25-16 in the first quarter, and it's the only problem with playing Charles Oakley. Even when they win, he wants to bang you around, and you're his teammate.
San Antonio off it. They complete the Lone Star triumvirate, and Robinson there and waiting and denying Shaquille O'Neal. Then Robinson goes right past, but Shaq responds. But the alley-oop is a little over-oop by Laettner Green, pulling in for Scott Skiles and not doing much of it. And then Robinson goes coast to coast. But still, despite that effort, Spurs down by 1 at the break in their own building. Then O'Neal gets physical inside with a slam over Robinson. Moments later, Shaq tries to do the same thing inside, and he's called for an offensive foul. Next possession, another offensive foul, and Shaq is getting a little bit perturbed. He got 2 technicals and ran out of the building with an ejection. And his dad, watching him in front of the hometown crowd, couldn't take it either. He left. Matt Gukas can't believe it. His team was down big late. David Robinson took advantage on the backdoor alley-oop from Willie Anderson. He had 30 to Shaq's 15 with the ejection, although...
Indian pitchers with a moment of silence before the game. Olin very popular with Cleveland fans. Cruz still new to the club. Lenny Wilkins trying to move into 3rd place in all-time victories. Watches as Mark Price comes out inspired, feeding Larry Nance. The Cavs at an early 6-point lead. Then he disrupts Avery Johnson's shot. The other end, the toss to Gerald Wilkins. 40 fast break points for Cleveland. Price dishing again. Brad Daugherty for the dunk. 10 assists in the first quarter alone for Price. John Lucas, at least his pants weren't ripped. Second half, Price still dishing it out. The bounce pass to Brad Daugherty for the dunk, a 12-point lead. Then Price one more time, and Wilkins, this spinning move. 18 assists for Price, 2 shy of his career high. He also made 3 free throws.
Spurs, the T-Wolves and the Spurs going at it. Avery Johnson at the end of the first quarter gets it to go, and San Antonio leading by 4. T-Wolves trouble containing David Robinson here. The Admiral muscles past Felton Spencer. He's fouled on his way to the hoop. 24 points for Robinson at halftime, and the Spurs were up on low by 14. Second half, Robinson on the alley-oop. He finishes with 29, and Sidney happy about the contract, not happy with the results. The T-Wolves losing 105-92. Robinson 11 rebounds and 7 assists. So Minnesota now 9-26 under Sidney Lowe.
Spurs and Jazz, a Midwest battle. Jeff Malone pulls up for 2 of his first half 18. Second half, the Jazz still going strong. Karl Malone strips it away from David Robinson, and the jam at the other end. 25 points for the mailman. The Spurs make a game of it. David with a jump hook. He had a triple-double, but didn't shoot very well. Robinson, the rebound, the football pass to Dale Ellis for the touchdown. The Spurs within 2 in the final minutes, but the Jazz were too tough down the stretch, and where's the D? The Jazz hold on for the victory. 104-98 was the final score.
With the Roy Firestone choice of jacket. Jimmy Jackson, his signature on this one. Fourth quarter, JJ. Mavs down by 4 as he dishes it to Donald Hodge. And then Gar Hurd says, take it, JJ. The floater, 18 points, 11 assists. Are the Mavs going to win? Antoine Carr hit 21. Late in the game, David Robinson follows up the miss. 31 points, 20 coming in the second half, and yep, Mavs lose again. 114-107.
Playing quite well. Hits the lefty layup. He had 24. More Sonics. Sean Kemp with 18 points, 2 right there. And the Sonics look to be in good shape, even on defense. And Sean says, take it back, Sam Mack. But the Spurs fight back. Sean Elliott hits the layup and cuts a double-digit lead down to 2. Spurs back for more. Lloyd Daniels, who saw action, goes off the glass and hits it. Game tied at 91. John Lucas got it from the bench in this game. George Karl, reason to be concerned. Down 2, closing seconds. Eddie Johnson, the spinning turnaround, he hits it to tie it at 97. So timeout, right? No. Luke says keep it on the floor, and Sean Elliott takes the ball. And out of this sloppy set, the fadeaway goes for Elliott. 2 points, Spurs lead, and Luke has to get the troops back to play some defense on Sean Kemp. Will he get the shot off? No. He loses the handle. And Seattle really loses the handle on this one that they let slip away. Larry Smith, Mac Daniels, and Vinny Del Negro lead the rally from down 20 to win by 2. The Admiral had 21. The Spurs now a half game behind Midwest leading Houston.
To the game we go. John Stockton colliding with David Robinson. Sometimes words aren't needed to tell the story, and I won't begin to try. As for the Spurs, well, they were ice cold. Sean Elliott, Vinny Del Negro attesting to that. But Jerry Sloan's Jazz still down by 1 in the third. Then the Malones took over. Jeff Malone with 2 of his 20. Utah up by 1. San Antonio, well, they still had trouble finding the basket. Robinson the air ball. John Stockton surging for Utah, 2 of his 12. He also had 9 assists. And then here's one of those assists. Stockton to Carl. 2 of Carl's 31 points right there. Yeah, it was a pretty dismal night for David Robinson and the Spurs. The Spurs just 10 and 12 over their last 22 games.
Time running down, first half. Ewing rejects Sean Elliott. Charles Smith, the loose ball. John Starks will then try to beat the buzzer. And John plays beat the clock and touches nothing but the bottom of the net. Knicks up by 13 at the break. Second half, Sean Elliott was on fire. Sean there. Sean again, the tough fadeaway over Ewing. Elliott again. He had 15 in the third quarter alone. Final seconds of regulation, tied at 95. Inside to Patrick. Got the shot he wanted, but couldn't get it to go. And Pat Riley and company are going to overtime. In overtime, Elliott. He would throw up the prayer, but check out the shot clock because it had expired. And John Lucas can't catch a break. Knicks tough in overtime. John Starks earning the 3 as he touches every part of the rim. Knicks win it 108-103. Starks had 6 points in overtime.
Clippers look good early. How about Grant to Ron Harper? Clippers down only by 6 at the half. Second half, Dale Ellis, the story. Boy, was he hot. Draining the J. Ellis was a 10 of 17 from the field, and they really need him to perform for the Spurs to perform. Ellis again from outside. He finished with 25 points. As for the Spurs defense, pretty impressive. Ron Harper rejected by David Robinson. Now check out the first step and the fake. The quickness by the Admiral over Stanley Roberts. Spurs win it by 4. Robinson finishing with 21 points, 14 rebounds.
San Antonio, thank you, in Sacramento. Terry Cummings back after missing over 5 months with an injured right knee, but David Robinson did a lot of the damage. Spurs up by 22. J.R. Reed off balance in the lane for 2. David sat out the fourth quarter so he could watch J.R. put on a show, and J.R. did. Taking Kurt Rambis to the rack. 17 points, 11 boards, and the Spurs roll. San Antonio at Golden State. Fourth quarter will take you. Warriors down 2. Latrell Sprewell's been playing well. Spots up and rips court on a 3, and the Warriors are up 1. But after retaking a 1-point lead for John Lucas's team with 14 seconds left, Avery Johnson to Carr, drives baseline. Antoine misses, but the Admiral is there. Nobody put a body on him. He puts it back. Spurs up 3, so the Warriors need a 3. Will it be Sprewell? No. Victor Alexander for the tie rim shot. He'll get another try and be denied by the combination of Elliott and Carr. And riding 33 and 17 from the Admiral. Luke and the Spurs get their first win of the season over Golden State.
The light at the end of the rainbow? No. How about a pot of an old injury for Clyde the Glide? David Robinson had 29. Spurs by 5 at the break, but a different Robinson on this Sunday. Cliffy, the former UConn Husky, had 20 on the afternoon. Rod Strickland, 25 for Rod, the former Spur, and the kiss off the glass. Terry Porter, Jerome Kersey, Blazers by 8. Blazers by 3 late in the game. Do they go to Dale Ellis, their 3-point specialist? No. How about a guy who's 0 for 4 from 3-point range this year? Antoine Carr, 0 for 5. Blazers win it, 105-101.
Seattle, Sean Kemp starting on the bench, and San Antonio starting well. Avery Johnson with the layup, and Spurs up 5 after 1. David Robinson, early foul trouble, 3 points in the first half, so inside Seattle able to take over on the boards and get the rebound. Nate McMillan on one end, no Robinson on that end to get the board, no Robinson to stop the penetration on the other end. Sonics up 7 at the break. Midway in the third, a little pushing and shoving. Sean Kemp and Vinny Del Negro. Vinny gives away 6 inches and 40 pounds. Fortunately, no punches. Double technical fouls called in this one. George Karl unhappy, saying just some pushing and shoving. But maybe the pushing and shoving woke Kemp up a little bit. Off the window, the putback by Kemp. Sonics in this game had more offensive than defensive rebounds. San Antonio, boy, their turnovers hurt. Avery Johnson, the bad feet to Cummings. A season-high 27 turnovers for San Antonio, and too much in the fourth of Ricky Pierce, who had a game-high 27. John Lucas's team has lost it, folks.
There's Clyde, not gliding on this night. Portland didn't even know he was gone in the first half. The pick and roll, Rod Strickland to Buck Williams. Blazers up by 12 at the half. Third quarter, Strickland finds Jerome Kersey, who goes baseline. Portland up 14 in the game. To the fourth we go, and the Spurs make a comeback. How about Terry Cummings? The post-up and the score, Spurs within 5. Then David Robinson. You knew you'd hear from him one-on-one against Cliff Robinson. Spurs within 3. Then Robinson, the miss on the line, but Terry Cummings is there with a big tip-in. Suddenly a 1-point game. Spurs bench a bit tense, 5.4 seconds left, game tied at 86 when Sean Elliott's free throw gives the Spurs a 1-point lead. The bench ecstatic. Portland has time for one more play. Here it is. Mario Elliott to Rod Strickland to win it. No good. Time runs out. The Spurs hang on. They win it. 87-86. Look at John Lucas. Boy, is he excited. Well, he's getting used to that. Spurs outscored the Blazers 29-16 in that fourth quarter.
The start of this game, a half hour in San Antonio, but they played even at 1-1, this pivotal game 3. And in the early going, good ball movement. Cliff Robinson for the dunk. Portland by 5. Second quarter, San Antonio, J.R. Reed comes off the bench. The Spurs run a little more, and they take the lead. J.R. had 12 points off the bench in the first half. Then Strickland takes Avery Johnson to the hoop, arching it over Antoine Carr. Game tied 53-all at the break, third quarter. Porter and Drexler, perfect give and go. Porter at 16. Portland by 5 after 3. Into the fourth, Willie Anderson. 13 of his 19 came in the fourth. Spurs within 4. Then they take the lead on this Lloyd Daniels tip of the David Robinson miss. Under a minute left, it's Robinson posting up. Cliff Robinson goes over Cliffy. Hits the shot. Spurs by 3. 35 seconds left. Clyde Drexler, chance to tie with a 3, and he put up an air ball of all things. A shocker. And San Antonio wins.
You enjoy my highlights. Barkley, Mark West for the lay-in. Willie Anderson running the point. Slips and falls. KJ, one of his 5 steals, finds Thunder Dan. Anderson went down hard. He would later return. Suns by 13 after 1. Big half for Antoine Carr. 13 in the first half, 19 for the game, but the Suns led by 8 at the break. Third quarter, Richard Dumas, the great save to West, and it counts. Suns by 12, and KJ is pumped up. Sometimes it hurts when you score, right, Mark? Robinson trying to keep the Spurs in it, using Oliver Miller. End of the third, KJ, one of his 7 assists, finds Dumas. Suns by 9 after 3. Dumas had 10 in the third quarter alone. But the Spurs would not fade. Anderson, Admiral. Spurs down by only 6. They were down by only 4 when Barkley says, "I'll take matters into my own hands." The kiss off the glass and the kiss from Antoine Carr. Get up, Charles. You're a winner. 98-89. KJ had the big night, 25 points and 7 assists. The Suns, they have not lost to the Spurs in the playoffs. 4-0 now. And KJ now has 47 assists in the playoffs and just 19 turnovers.
He was trying to make a point, and he met a lot of them. Here, working the pick and roll with KJ, and Barkley in position for the jumper. Suns leading by 11 at halftime. Third quarter, look at Barkley play the defense on David Robinson. Gets it out of the way and then steals the ball. Sean Elliott loose as he denies the dunk. The Suns still up by 13 after 3. In the fourth quarter, Del Negro to Robinson. San Antonio cut the lead down to 6, but KJ to the rookie Oliver Miller on a nice bounce pass. And John Lucas would like a do-over as the Suns win it 109-103.
Forget game 2, Charles, when you scored 35. First quarter, Charles didn't listen. He hits and he's fouled. And speaking of foul, still in the first, Suns work the pick and roll. KJ to Richard Dumas, and Dumas goes around and over Robinson. John Lucas wanted a more aggressive D, and Antoine Carr gives him one. Second quarter, with 3 men on him, David finds Antoine. He plays D, he plays O, he played big today, scoring a playoff high 21. Carr took 14 shots, hits 10 of them. Also getting into the act, Dale Ellis, averaging 10 in the postseason, doubles his average with 20. The Spurs handle the Suns 111-96. Sean Elliott had 17. Oliver Miller, who's been playing well for the Suns, scored only 4 points, hit only 1 field goal.
Is on for Charles and David. Suns strong early. Thunder Dan finds Barkley. Charles struggling from the field again in Game 4. Game 3 hero Antoine Carr, lower left corner, lower left ankle, done for the day. But the Spurs would hang tough. Willie Anderson to Sean Elliott. We're tied at 26 after 1. Second quarter, more Charles. J.R. Reed and Sean Elliott with a double team. Didn't matter. Charles, the fadeaway. He had 13 first-half points. Suns by 4 at the break. Second half, Spurs came alive, and they came alive because they went to the Admiral. John Lucas's team up 4. Robinson, 36 points. Fourth quarter, 6 seconds on the shot clock. Reed will lose it. Willie Anderson from 3. And then Anderson with his movie tribute to Michael Douglas, falling down. Lucas loves it. Spurs win it, 117-103. Tuesday back to Phoenix as they play Game 5. They're tied at 2 games apiece.
Phoenix, the Spurs and the Suns. Right off the bat, David Robinson with a slam dunk. And then as the third quarter winds down, Sean Elliott misses. Avery Johnson there, the Spurs leading by 5 after 3. But in the fourth, he's not a role model. He's just their big gun. And Charles Barkley takes over. Nice inside move on the foul on J.R. Reed. And then Barkley, the offensive rebound, another hoop and some harm. Barkley again going to the boards. Puts it back in. He's fouled once again. Charles in charge for 3. He scored 13 straight points in the fourth quarter, 36 for the game. And Phoenix wins it 109-97. So the Suns now take a 3-2 advantage. Game 6 back in San Antonio on Thursday night in San Antonio. Barkley ready to do his part in the opening quarter. On the break, a two-handed stick, and the Spurs out to the early lead. John Lucas wants defense. Barkley from outside, the 3 ball that goes, 14 points in the opening quarter, and his team leading by 6, but he sat in the second quarter, didn't score any. The Spurs led at halftime from Willie Anderson, the Admiral with a hammer job. Spurs leading by 5. Later in the third, Sean Elliott. Look at this move, baseline, Jordan-like. He had 19. San Antonio leading by 7 after 3. In the fourth, Spurs by 10. But Danny Ainge, the bullet pass to Barkley, that started a 12-0 Phoenix run. Suns led by 2 late in the fourth. Robinson goes through the cylinder to block Barkley. Charles wanted goaltending, no call. Phoenix hanging on to a 1-point lead. Then Oliver Miller missing, but KJ throws it back in. Suns by 3. They were up 4. San Antonio with the ball. You see the time in regulation. Dale Ellis hits the 3. It's a 1-point game. Danny Ainge goes to the free throw line. Hit the first, misses the second. Barkley fouls Robinson on the rebound. And Robinson, who was 6 of 10 from the free throw line in the fourth, hits to tie the game at 100. But Barkley goes one-on-one with the game on the line. 1.8 seconds to play with Robinson in his face. He hits the jumper. And the Suns have the lead. One last gasp for the Spurs. They're going to go to David Robinson for the tie, but Oliver Miller there to tip it away. And Phoenix hangs on to win, to nail the Spurs and force them out of the postseason. 102-100. Barkley playing 42 minutes, 10 of 24 shots, 28 points, 21 rebounds. And what came down to the end,